Breaking tonight, brand new threats from North Korea as they warn the U.S. of the, quote, greatest pain and suffering if any new sanctions were passed, and that they were just passed about an hour ago. The UN Security Council unanimously voted to approve increasing pressure on the rogue nation in ways that they have been quite clear they do not want. Here's U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, just a short time ago.
Today we are saying the world will never accept a nuclear-armed North Korea. And today, the Security Council is saying that if the North Korean regime does not halt its nuclear program, we will act to stop it ourselves.
Here now, former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, who is also a Fox News contributor. Good to see you, Ambassador.
Glad to be with you.
First of all, what do you think about that news?
Well, I think Nikki Haley's statement is exactly correct. We should never accept a North Korea with nuclear weapons.
Don't they already have them?
That's part of the problem, and we are on the way in our national policy to doing just that. The consensus is forming. The establishment foreign policy says we're just going to have to learn to live with them. I reject that. I mean, listen to the way North Korea talks. They don't have the capability to hit us yet, but when they do, maybe they will act that way. So I think we're at a very perilous point.
So you make points on the diplomatic side and on the military side. Let's start with the diplomatic side in terms of what you would do in approaching China.
Well, I think the only way to get to China is to argue on their national interest as it is in ours to reunite the peninsula. You know, there's a lot of talk about imposing sanctions on China. I don't think it's going to work. I don't have any objection to it in principle, don't get me wrong. But let's say we wanted to put financial pressure on China. To impose pain on China, we have to be willing to bear pain, too. It's a big economy over there, and we've got to put the pressure on in a big way. You can believe that the American financial institutions in New York will not accept that. Yep. So you can talk about pain. I'd rather talk about China's national interest. I think that's the only diplomatic play left.
All right. And what about the military option?
Well, here's the question for people in the United States. Are you willing to live with a nuclear-capable North Korea that can hit any target it wants in the United States and use that capability to blackmail us, to force our troops out of Korea, to force our troops out of Japan, to force our troops out of Guam? If you don't want to live under that threat, then I think you've got to consider the military option.
And you say there's, you know, I need this quickly if you can, sort of a low end and a high end. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think you can hope to take out North Korea's nuclear weapons capability alone and that they don't respond, but you have to worry about retaliation against South Korea, and that means a larger military action. But let's recall, the president's first responsibility is to protect Americans, and I think the question we have to face is, how many dead Americans are you willing to risk?
Strong words. Ambassador John Bolton, good to see you as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha.